back as you run. I can see, look to make sure I see faces of everybody. Maybe just a little bit. So that was everything's okay, Mike. She moved and just moved back. Good. Some like practices that we keep orient ourselves to try to see what's most true. And then we ask these questions, the same old questions over and over and over. That's one of the interesting things about doing a Dharma talk. It's like you got like two things to say. How many ways can you over and over and over? But with the koans, you know, we ask the same questions over and over. But what you've seen, I hope you've seen it very clearly, is you get all these different responses. Because the answers aren't the main thing. They don't ultimately matter, really. What matters is that we can sit together and look into each other's eyes. Maybe have a cup of tea. And that matters, is that warmth and care that we're talking about. And sometimes it takes a while to settle into being able to do that as powerfully as it's possible. You know, if the teachings, I talked this morning about the incomprehensible nature of these things. The term you've heard me use is the embodied inconceivable. That's what we're working with. And if the teachings make too much sense, we're probably going to be suspect, you know? But also, if they don't make any sense, they're equally going to be suspect. We're back into that this dualistic thing that we've been, each of the koans thus far has demonstrated to us. Because what's offered in a koan, and we don't even have to say koan, what's offered in this practice are things that hang like just outside of the range of our ordinary understanding. Like a beautiful piece of fruit that's just barely out of your reach, you know, and it's so wonderful. And you know you're never going to reach it. You're probably not going to be able to taste it because this isn't a feeding activity. This is a stretching activity, which you helped us. But this isn't a feeding activity. It's an inquisitive activity. It's a stretching activity, and the I don't know then has a very different meaning if there isn't a knowing at the end of the game. There are, I want to just reference something. These are like little tabs in the study part of our program before we go on to the next koan. And that is, there are probably the two most famous and mostly used collections of koans are called the Blue Cliff Record and the Gateless Gate, or the Mumonkan. Those are the two, and these are Japanese work in all of them. Those are the two biggest and most usual collections. You don't need to necessarily remember this stuff, but what I want to do is just very briefly touch on what's the first case in each of those collections, because it echoes what we've been talking about. And it's just kind of interesting to me, anyway. And so I thought I would share it with you. The first case in the Blue Cliff Record is one of these story ones, a little bit of a story. And in very classical, at least in Soto tradition, when a person has been a shuso or head student, which is a training step, usually in monastic or temple life, during the final ceremony, which ends the period of a person holding that role, they recite this koan. It's like the koan that's used. Now, in our way of doing things, we don't use just this one. I invite his students to select a koan that has some meaning for them and to use it as it sort of reflects their teaching. Like even had students, which one did you use? I can remember.
I can't remember the name of it, but it was in the hidden lamp when she's looking in the mirror.
Oh yeah, in the mirror. What's her name?
Princess Yodo.
Yeah. And what was it about?
A lot. Yeah, essentially it's like this practice, like historically there's a temple, it's a women's temple that was a refuge, and it was famous for this mirror that the nuns would sit in front of and basically ask themselves, like, through these changes, who is this that's changing, right? What is this that's changing?
What is this image?
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah, it's a little bit like the moon and the water.
Yeah.
So this is I'll just read this small bit. This is one translation of this first case. And you'll see why it's important. Empress Wu of Liang, so this is in ancient China, asked the great master Bodhidharma. So the characters are, here's the red barbarian, here's the first crazy guy, who came from India and brought the teaching, supposedly. And this emperor at that time in China wants to meet this person. So Emperor Wu of Liang, and by the way, Emperor Wu was this emperor, and the idea was that if you did all these good things for the monks and the nuns, that you get a credit. You gain merit. So you have to understand the context.
Like the coins when the Mario's going through.
Then you save the
Emperor Mario asked the great master Bodhidharma. The emperor asked Bodhidharma, what is the highest meaning of the holy truths? Like, tell me that. And Bodhidharma said, empty, nothing holy. Vast emptiness, nothing holy. So he says, who's this facing me right now? It's his version of kind of like, And Bodhidharma replied, I don't know. The emperor did not understand. After this, Bodhidharma, he left, crossed the Yangtze River, and he continued on his journey. But later, this is after the bridge, later, the emperor brought this whole thing up because he was perplexed by it with his one of his senior people, and asked him, and the senior guy said to the emperor, do you know who that guy was? And the emperor said, no. And he said, that was the Bodhisattva of compassion, transmitting the Buddha's mind seal. And the emperor felt very regretful, so he sent an emissary out to go get him, because Bodhidharma had left. And his main attendant said, don't send them out. Even if everybody in the whole country were to go after him, they couldn't get him. He's not going to return. That's the story. What's the highest teachings of the holy truth? Vast emptiness, nothing holy. Who is this in the mirror? Who is this facing you? I couldn't say. And then later, the sense of, can I call that back? Can I touch that again? Can I go further? And in some ways, the emperor is left to practice himself. Not going to get nobody's going to work it out for him. The old teachers, thought that to not know, this essence that it was underlining for us the other day, was this, it was kind of like a novel step in practice. Because, like, there's no repeating itself. You're not reciting a canon. You know, like you know the scripture and verse, and that you got it. Because what we believe about ourselves doesn't really stand up to scrutiny anyway. When you look in the mirror, who am I? Like, So there's always a problem of even trying to describe our own lives in some plausible way, you know, that's rational for other people. The old teachers named this insubstantiality that we come to realize emptiness or boundlessness, what we're chanting. And so much of certainly psychology, religion, philosophy attempts to nail things down, finally understand. This is a different way. And each koan is one story about boundlessness or emptiness. As I said, I thought it's like dancing, how it gets up and moves. So that's the first one from the Blue Cliff record. The first one from the Gateless Gate of the Mumonkan is the famous story about Mu, the cow. Here's the case. Monk asked Joshu in all earnestness, does a dog have Buddha nature or not? Okay. They all knew that the teachings were that everything has the nature of Buddha. Everything has Buddha nature. So this is the monk. The dog has Buddha nature. And the calligraphy Mu means no or does not have. So Joshu says Mu. Wait a minute. That's the whole case. And by the way, it's in people who use koan practice as their, you know, the kind of classical practice. This is like the great barrier. You got to get through Mu before you do anything else.
Yeah.
Right? This is what you want. So here's Mumon's commentary, just a tiny bit. So you get a feel for the way it's usually thought of classically. Mumon says, for the practice of Zen, you must pass the barriers set up by the ancient masters of Zen. If you have not passed the barriers and have not extinguished all thoughts, you are a phantom haunting the weeds and trees. And so this is, you know, old-fashioned talk about they're throwing up some challenges here. If you don't meet the challenges, you're going to be lost. Here's a few other of his words, just so you get the feel. It's kind of wild. Those who have passed the barrier are able not only to see Joshu's face, so the teacher has said, not only able to see Joshu face to face, but also to walk hand in hand with the whole line of the ancestors and be eyebrow to eyebrow with him. In other words, past this barrier is to be intimate, as intimate as anyone could be with this whole path. You will see with the same eye as they saw, hear with the same ear that they heard. Wouldn't it be a wonderful joy? Isn't there anyone who wants to pass this barrier? So how do you do this? I'm not going to go on and on, but I'm going to read a couple of paragraphs because this is more like classic practice. It's not the way we're doing it. He says, then throw your whole self into this groove. Make your whole body with its 360 bones and joints and 84,000 pores into a solid lump of doubt. Day and night, without ceasing, keep leading into it. But don't take it as nothingness, or as being or non-being. It must be like a red-hot iron ball which you have gulped down and which you try to vomit but cannot. Well, but you know, it's a hideous metaphor. But you get, you know the feeling, right? It's like, man, I got this thing and I can't get rid of it, but I can't solve it. You must extinguish all delusive thoughts and beliefs which you have cherished up to the present. After a certain period of such efforts, Mu will come to fruition, and inside and out will become one naturally. You will then be like a dumb person who has had a dream. You'll know yourself. You will know yourself and for yourself only. Then all of a sudden the moon will break open. It will astonish the heavens and shake the earth. It will be just as if you had snatched the great sword of General Koan. This is a reference to some historical thing. In other words, you be in charge. If you meet a Buddha, you kill the Buddha. If you meet an old ancestor, you kill them. Just means you wouldn't be a follower. You find your own way. You may stand on the brink of life and death, and you enjoy the great freedom. In the 6 realms and the 4 modes of earth, you will live in the samadhi of innocent play. Be free. Now, how should you work with Mu, he says? Exhaust every ounce of energy you have in doing it. And if you do not give up on the way, you will be awakened. The way a candle in front of the altar is lighted by one who's touched by fire. You'll be awakened as simply as like making a match to the candle. Just lights up. So this doesn't give you much to go on in a way, but it just expresses the spirit, what it means to have one of these strange questions and to live with the question. Because any rational answer isn't going to do it. The teacher's going to ring the bell, send you out. Nope, that's not it. The person that I did some Koan training with, because my teacher suggested I do it. Why do you think my teacher would suggest that I do some classical Koan training? Be nice, but
You really like to be good at stuff.
Yeah.
it defeats understanding.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, please don't make me do that.
Here's a red hot ball of
I know.
fire.
And so the person that I worked with that she recommended and I was great privilege to work with was Ruben Habito. You know Ruben? Who? Ruben Habito. So Ruben, this is interesting. He was from the Philippines originally, hence the name. He was a very devout Catholic child. And he joined the order and became a Jesuit. Well, deal. And as the Jesuits often do, they send out their priests, and also, how they're so focused on education, and they sent him bad mood to Japan. And he got a degree in, learned Japanese, and got a degree in Buddhist philosophy and comparative religion. And even worse, he met Yamada Roshi, one of the great teachers of the 20th century, and became his disciple. And they were a Koan school. It's the school that Robert Aitken came out of too. So they were very Koan. It was not a priestly school, but Ruben studied with him and then was transmitted by Yamada to be a teacher. He ended up leaving the Catholic Church, the word. Ended up marrying a nun, a former nun, also. And I studied with him because he was teaching in the Perkins School of Theology at SMU in Dallas, Methodist University, and teaching in the School of Theology, and also directing them. Listen to the name of the Zen Center in Dallas, the Maria Koan. So Koan is Bodhisattva of compassion. Maria Koan Zen Center. And Ruben he's the real table man. He is so kind and so helpful and so hard. And it was wonderful to be with him. I didn't do all of the Mumonkan, the Gateless Gate. I did a lot of it. But that means I had to pass with him. And it was interesting because there's also preliminary koans they give you in a little folder that's not in the collection. Like, oh, really? We have to go through these before we even start? So we did those. And then when they have some satisfaction that maybe you've met moving away, then they put the date on this little book. sign it. It's very accomplishment related, in a lot of ways. But it was great to do that work. The verse, here's the verse, here's Mumon's verse. Dog, Buddha nature, the complete manifestation of the true command. A little has or has not, body is lost, life is gone. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Basically saying, yeah, not this, not that. How do you step beyond has or has not? How do you step beyond knowing or not knowing? Water and ruin, and, you know, the alive or dead, or, you know, on and on it goes. And so I think of when we enact these things, and luckily these folks have done a good job thus far too. There's so many of us that are therapists and have therapeutic training in here. I say koans were the first demo sessions. You know, when you go in trainings and people does a demonstration and shows their technique, they're like demos. You know, it's like, oh, I can see the master in action, you know. Yeah.
I have a question I'm curious. Two questions. One is, how many koans are there that are acknowledged, right? And are they still being produced by people and accepted into this, like, I don't know, canon of koans?
Yeah, there are thousands.
Okay.
But these collections, I don't remember. Do you remember how many? There's like hundreds in each of these.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But you could look it up really easily. Like to see how many are in the Blue Cliff record, how many in the Mumonkan, how many in the Book of Serenity that Dogen put together. You know, there are various ones, and there are hundreds and hundreds of each. And often, if you were doing this old-fashioned curriculum, literally, you work through them all.
Oh, okay. So are they?
So, and they are a defined canon. Nothing is being added to them. Yet, there are many people who bring forward contemporary examples, you know, and often they're quite funny too.
Yeah.
But we're gonna sample one more traditional one, which is actually case 35 in the Gateless Gate, that I was just referring to further down the road. And we have our helper teachers. Helper. So here's an example of these things I'm talking about.
Well, I thought that I would tell the story.
Please.
Yeah. And the hidden lamp, this one is known as Seijo, which I think is Japanese, and then Chinese Seijo.
Seijo.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Don't quote me. So if you hear me say Seijo or Seijo, I'm talking about the same person.
But you'll see why.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of curious, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So I'll tell you the story, but you can read along if you like.
You have a copy of it.
You do have a copy of it in your folder, so if you want to
And
take those out.
you have a copy of the other two things I just read.
There once was an old man named Koan who had lost his first daughter. And as you might imagine, he was very attached to his second daughter. Sei was her name, and Jo means young woman. Sei was very beautiful, and so was her neighbor, a boy named Ochu.
You say calling or say in here?
Yeah.
Go ahead and go Seijo because
Seijo.
it's easier.
Yeah, Seijo. The two of them were so cute together. I love that line. That might be my favorite line of the whole.
Already you know why I gave this to her.
The family would watch the two children playing and say, "Ah, what a great couple they make. How adorable." And Chokan, her father, often said, "The two of you are so perfect together."
This is even when they're just kids.
Well, they grew older, and indeed they felt that way about each other. You are right for me. You are my great love. But then, to their dismay, Chokan told his daughter that he had chosen a husband for her. It was not Ochu.
The hell?
This says, we can't imagine that here. This was a very common occurrence back then, and not even so long ago. Now, too, in some cultures, this kind of arranged marriage is quite common. So what happened to this young, loving pair? They couldn't bear it. Ochu couldn't stay and see his beloved married off to someone she didn't love. He got into a boat and began making his way up the Yangtze River.
It's the same river that Bunny Pearl in.
Then he noticed someone running along the shore, calling after him, and he peered into the darkness. Who could it be? It was Seijo. We kind of knew that was going to be her. And she got into the boat, and they went off together, and years passed, and they had a family together. In this book, in the Hidden Lamp, it says they have 2 children together. Very specific. And in this one, it says they were very happy together. So let's go with that. We can imagine that. They had a family together, and now the mother of 2 children, Seijo, began feeling deep regret for having run away from her father. Knowing what it's like to love a child, she could imagine his anguish. And she said to Ochu, I long to go back to my native village and see my father and beg his forgiveness. And Ochu replied, I too feel that way. Let's go. So they get back in the boat again and they go back down the river. And when they reached the village, Seijo stayed in the boat. You know, she's just like, go check it out, see, just for me. And Ochu is like, yeah, I got you. And he goes to the father, and Ochu bowed low and begged for forgiveness for having run off with Seijo. And the old man listened with a look of incredulity on his face. What? Who are you talking about? Ochu said, your daughter, Seijo, she's in the boat. And Chokan, the father, replied, no, she's not. She's lying in bed. She's been sick all these years since you left in the boat, and we haven't known what's wrong. She's been lying there like an empty husk. She hasn't spoken since you left. But she followed me, Ochu said. We've been living together in another country. We're married, we have 2 children, and she's in great health. She's here now to ask for your forgiveness. And Ochu went to the boat and asked Sei to come to the house. And meanwhile, Chokan went to tell that sick daughter about all of this. And still not speaking, she got up out of bed and walked out of the house. And Seijo coming from the boat and Seijo coming from the bed now became one. And the shocked father said to his daughter, ever since Ochu left, you have been lying lifeless, as though your soul has fled. And Seijo replied, I didn't know I was lying and sick in bed. When I heard Ochu was going away, I ran after him as if in a dream. And that's the story of Seijo. That's not the koan.
That's not the, oh, but you need the story.
Yeah.
It's, so interesting as you read the story when they came together, you can feel tears in my eyes. Like, wow, I've never felt that before. The story of me and Thomas. Something really powerful.
Yeah.
So the koan is structured in the way that all these other ones are, like the case and the commentary and the verse.
And the case is Goso asked a monk, Seijo and her soul are separated. which was the real Seijo?
That's the question.
Which one was real? And Maman's commentary? If you realize the true one in this, you will understand that getting out of one shell and entering another is just like a traveler staying at an inn. If you have not realized it, don't rush about wildly. When earth, water, fire, and wind are suddenly about to decompose, you will be like a crab which has fallen into boiling water with its 7 arms and 8 legs. At that time, don't say I didn't warn you.
We can go back to.
And the verse. The clouds and the moon are the same. Valleys and mountains are different from each other. All are blessed, 10,000 times blessed. Is this one? Is this two?
You're probably noticing a common theme, huh? All of these.
I wrote down just a number of random thoughts that, I mean, as soon as you said, I'm going to assign a koan to you, I was like, oh, I failed. Oh my gosh, I already failed. And doing so kind of took a little bit of pressure off. It's kind of like in the opening for Dharma talks, an unsurpassed, penetrating, and perfect Dharma is rarely met with, even in 100,000 million kalpas. Phew!
We're up in the Dharma seat and we're chanting that. It's like, no pressure.
Yeah, but it says rarely met.
Rarely met.
And I don't need to be rare.
Also,
I
at
can
the
be
end,
one of the just.
it's rarely met, even in 100,000 days. See and listen to, remember and accept, I vow to taste. Not understand. Not explicate. Feel. Sense, body. Connect with.
I think yesterday you said it would be interesting to take the different perspectives of other things in the story.
Yes.
And the first one I thought of was the river, because it's all happening by the river. And also because at the Hui,
This is in Hawaii.
in Hawaii, at the last retreat that I was at with you, we were like, water, water, water. Like this was a theme that kept coming up in the waterfall. And I thought about the river and every drop in the river flowed by. But the river saw Ochu.
Yeah,
Well,
if you
all
are
in
the
play.
river,
Yeah.
tell the story from the river's perspective. Don't talk
Yeah.
about the river.
So the river.
Now, I'm the river.
I'm the river.
I'm flowing.
And I see these kids playing. Aren't they so cute? And I think they're in love. But now what is this? The one boy is going away in a boat.
On you?
Yeah. And Ochu?
No, on you on the river. You're the river.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
And he utilizes you to escape.
Yeah, I'll take you wherever you need to go. And oh, wait, here she comes.
Running alongside you.
Yeah. And hang on a second. I'm flowing by the house. She's still in bed. How is this?
Yeah, do you even know that it's the river?
Yeah. I mean, some of my drops, they're over there, and some of my drops are over here. So they already know that there's a mystery I know that there's a mystery before any of you know there's a mystery.
First, because when we see you, we only see what's on the surface. We don't see what's we can't see to your bottom. All kinds of stuff is going on through there. It's flowing endlessly. It doesn't ever stop. You don't ever stop.
Yeah. I can't help it.
Yeah. But you see how we're talking about ultimate reality, the absolute. the condition, you know. And some people use you to move. Some people run along hoping to join.
But I'm already there in them.
Always. They're made up of you.
Yes, I think like 90%.
Yeah. Yeah. Inherent river
Those
nature.
silly people.
Buddha nature, river nature. It's like, oh yeah, water nature.
Yeah, and they say things like, let's go swimming. And I think, you already are.
In particular direction in rivers tend to.
Down,
Yeah, yeah.
usually.
How did they come back?
Rivers?
No, how did the kids come back?
Oh, the kid, yes, they did come back in a boat.
So how did they do that? On you? Are they
Well,
against your
I
brain?
gave them something to push against, something to
Yeah, it takes an effort, doesn't it? Yeah, you gotta practice.
yes. They
Put some effort in.
they did this over and over.
Yeah.
Yes.
A repetitive form
Mhm.
allowed them to move.
It was like this over and over and over.
The Buddha said, if you follow the Dharma, you're a stream enterer. If you practice deeply, you're going against the stream.
Say again, please.
You're a stream enterer. You enter the stream of Dharma. And you dedicate yourself to practice. And in doing so, you're going against the stream of conditioning, of ordinary. Both.
The other object that I thought of to take the perspective was the boat itself,
Yes.
but then I realized, oh, and then the bed, because the boat took Seijo away and back, and the bed held Seijo the whole time.
Those are good ideas.
Yeah.
So be the boat.
Oh.
And the boat.
I'm the boat, and I'm a stream enterer too,
And what's your function?
to carry along
Mhm.
the stream, people specifically.
You're a skillful meat. They can use you,
Yes, I'm like a bucket.
but you don't. It doesn't sound like you have an opinion about it. You just are there for their use.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just fine with me if they want to go someplace. And it doesn't also matter if it's up or downstream.
Just hold and float.
But I also know their story. Because I saw them coming and going, and all of the other people who, by the way, are doing the same thing. They're going, they're looking, and I'm like, sure, let's try it. Let's go. And then I, a lot of times, bring them back.
Mhm.
You know?
But it's their commitment and their effort. You're always there available. But our practice is always there. It takes our effort and commitment to actually be in it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do any of the work.
No, but without you, they couldn't do it.
Yeah, and I'm empty.
Yes, yes.
But then I'm also full of people.
Yeah. Okay, so be the bed. Tell the story. Tell the story.
Yes.
I'm a bed in this room.
I'm a bed in this room, and this woman comes in as if in a dream and needs a place to be held safely. And I will hold people so that they can rest. And again, I don't have any opinion about it. I don't, but I'm always available. And sometimes people think that I'm providing the care, but actually they're doing the care.
And you don't move.
No.
There's this unmoving place of rest. It's always available.
And beds care for people when they can't care for themselves.
If people have to make their bed, they take care of it, but they care.
But if you're vulnerable,
Mm.
you can lie in the bed and you can keep it. You're okay. As if you can't be a fully functional person, you can stay in bed. And that takes care of
Yeah, and you can trust in the bed.
you. Yes.
And also the children of
The two children they
the
had.
two children they had, wondering what is going on. I thought we lived here. Who are these other people? Oh, I have grandparents? Oh, cool. Oh, they're mine? Oh, that's really cool. Yes, I would love to meet them. And we get to go on a boat to do that. And we're going to work hard to get there and go on this journey and find our ancestors.
So many young parts of us
Yeah.
suddenly wake up to all that's available that we didn't even know about. Get reunited and reclaimed with their exile. It's a great image of exile. Isn't this an interesting way to move on?
Yes.
It's easy to stand back and talk about it. And even if it's pretty right on, it's not the same. Be the thing. Take it on.
Well, I'm checking my list of, well, I also thought about it from the perspective of the father, but all I have there is just confusion
So,
and a great burning ball of doubt. What? What? How?
do you know the father in the beginning who loved his daughter?
Yeah. Yeah. And wanted all these things. And he had already experienced great loss of his first daughter.
I've already experienced
Great loss. And now I have this daughter who I cherish. And I thought I was doing the right thing. And I found her this really great husband. I mean, Ochu's fine, they're cute, but it was just puppy love, right? And I'm thinking about the long-term future of our family and making sure we have stability and wealth and prestige and place in our community. And that's very important. And I thought I was doing the right thing. And I found this other husband, which, by the way, is another person we could take the perspective of.
But we're not there yet.
But we're not there yet. And so I thought that I would marry my daughter in this wonderful way, and she's really unhappy. And I think that her heart is broken, and now she's in bed, and she won't talk to us, and it's breaking my heart. What's it about for me?
With that
As
part of
dad?
you that loves something in you or about your life and thinks that there's direction that you think you have the right direction that you're headed in, it turns out it doesn't get you the results you wanted. Ever had that?
Never.
But it was something I really loved and I thought this was the right thing. I thought I was doing the right thing. And then some part of you like gets depressed or dormant or.
I mean, I think even, am I still a father?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, even as a father, I'm just doing what I thought was right.
Yeah.
And I mean, not only what I thought was right and just acting out the things that I do, but also what I've been taught and how I've been conditioned and all of the unskillful ways that were passed to me.
And that's everything we bring to practice, isn't it? And I have a curiosity, what about your wife?
Who? I'm gonna add a chapter in here called Seijo's mom.
An important thing about her, she's missing.
She's missing.
You know, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
So if you're the mom, just start with, I'm missing.
It doesn't seem like anyone can hear me. But
And you don't show up.
yeah,
No one notices. You're not.
I'm kind of like Seijo in bed. I'm just a husk, a shadow.
So you know about that. Looks like so you know about that. Yeah. Parts of us that deny or don't notice or forget about.
I think yesterday you said,
Oh,
We
there's a
have
lot
to-
of feeling in it.
yeah, we have to hold our own shape.
So the story includes the part that doesn't know how to do that well. It isn't met by others.
And so just get some better.
Or she's somewhere.
I was gonna say, and Seijo's mother already lost a daughter. So we don't know who she was before that loss. But she might just. And I think about the stitching of the ribbon and the decision of the father to have his daughter marry this perfect man is like the back of the ribbon where you put the stitch in just the right way. And then you turn it over and look what you got. Good or bad, you don't know. You just keep putting where you think you should stitch.
It's interesting to look at the regularity of the stitches on the front, and then you look at the back.
Or don't. Yeah, please don't. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people can identify with the story of like, oh, I'm gonna go off and do this thing that I think is for love or, you know, thank you. Or to fulfill whatever the request is that we think. And that request could be an inmost request, which could shift.
Yeah, I talked about a request that I thought was going to be my fulfillment, turned out to be.
Yeah.
Turned out to be a really painful thing. Although it was really good. I mean, you know, it turned, it changed.
Yeah. And I think everybody in here has had something that they thought they were supposed to do. And then even if they did it really skillfully, it could have just not worked out.
Sometimes that's the reason it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Did you do Seijo?
What?
Did you do Seijo?
Yep, those tears.
Not yet.
Yeah, no, I did. Just now when I was.
Well, you were flipping it down on her, just like in the story.
Yeah.
But we didn't formally start with, I'm Seijo. You want to do the husband first
Or the other guy.
or the other guy?
I mean, the other guy's perspective is kind of like. Yeah, that's just for
That's a good one, yeah.
comedy.
And what, okay.
Don't you think he's like jealous that there's somebody else that she has a lifelong love?
Yeah. That's,
That
She actually cares for him.
Hmm?
She actually cares for him.
Yes,
But he may have one too, because it's arranged for him too.
maybe.
You know,
It's just arranged.
yeah.
He doesn't know her.
I mean, just because of the context we're in, it reminds me of the religion that it was supposed to mean something to me and the one that does. You know, I was supposed to be in love with that. That was supposed to fulfill me. But it didn't. So I ran off and did another one. Okay.
Just a little discombobulated.
Yeah, because you're actually in this koan.
Yeah, and I've been a boat and a bed.
Yeah, you're all over the
And,
place. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You start to unmoor yourself.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to spend a lot of time, but if you're the actual husband, what's his name?
Ochu.
Oh, shoot.
He's so sweet. I'm so sweet.
Dedicated and
Yeah, I am. I mean, I love her. And if she says she wants to go away with me, then awesome. We're going to do that. And if she says she wants to go back and repair things with her father, I'm going to help.
you're very dedicated and very steady.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
So just say it this way. Just now, I am dedication and steadiness.
Ooh.
Working the poem. When you do the formal koan, they say you don't give them an answer, you have to show it. That's what you're doing.
I think this is what dedication and steadiness, often looks like for me.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Broken heart is portable.
Yeah, usually. Yeah. This is dedication. I am dedicated.
I am steadiness.
I am steadiness.
It's different than saying I'm steady.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not steady. I'm a boat.
Right? This is the quality of steadiness.
Yeah.
You have both trueness.
Is that my Dharma name?
No.
That's your
Hey,
nickname.
make it that you want, but.
Yeah.
Interesting, marvelous job.
Spade, get ready, folks. Who needs a tissue?
I have a suggestion
Yeah,
to just try something first.
sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
We just stand over there. Emily, stand over here. You're gonna stand in for one of them. Just close your eyes for a second. Both of you. Because you don't know that the other one exists. One of you's gotten off a boat. One of you's gotten up out of bed. And open your eyes. And
Over here too.
she has one in her hand, I think. I don't know, maybe she doesn't. We have to help her see it. They're not willing to separate at the moment. That's fine.
Forever.
So,
But that's important, isn't it? You can feel like, oh, once I've unified, I don't want to
right?
split again. And it didn't come from but the two Ochus are helping.
I feel like that's what we're trying to do all the time in here, is find yourself.
With each other. So before you go anywhere, just hang out there for a little bit. Your guys can hang with you there. So I'm interested, Emily, in like suddenly you were just brought into this as I didn't tell you this was going to happen. You had no, what happened in you? What happened on its own? Because something happened.
It's hard to put words to, which is important.
That's okay.
Um,
Because we saw the parts that didn't have words.
I simultaneously saw Elizabeth and saw myself, and it was like being reunited with part of me that's always been there, but I've really been missing. like the grief relief combo of like, like delight and grief and wonder. Just this.
And all that happened in a second. All that, and it's interesting, you had people start off today, remember?
Yes.
That you didn't anticipate, you know this. No. And yet.
Do we have to every part?
No.
To talk like this?
Even here, but here's another part of the koan. Even if you go back to your seat, you will never part. Now you know it's impossible. Her heart is in yours, your heart is in hers.
And you all are about to take the precepts together.
Right. It's quite a setup for the ceremony.
It's a very
It's these four right here.
Yeah.
And so since you're all up there, just for a second, what? You're involved in all this stuff, Ryan, what's the way? That's what your mind is. Your family, your friends, these people here, on the left, everything. Ordinary mind. Yeah, if you stop efforting with your going back and forth, getting that water, you know, where's the moon? Where's the light? Where is it now? Nice. You see it everywhere, don't you? Are you touched by all this, or are you separate from it? You're newer to it. Are you alive? Are you dead? What's going on? Grace. Yeah, on your knee is appropriate, isn't it? Kneeling to the whole great, beautiful, terrifying mystery. Yeah. Which is the real Seijo. I'll ask a different question. How many Seijos are in the room?
1,
Right,
2,
exactly.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
And the ones online?
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 30.
Yeah.
I think.
And all that. Well, and how many Uchus and how many fathers, how many rivers and how many. So if you go back to Mood, weird one. What does Moo look like? How tall is Moo? How old is Moo? Anyway, you see how we're all in this together. And then the formality of the ceremony can help us move forward. Okay, take your seat. But never separated.
We have to go on 11:30.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just put it up.
I'm gonna just check my book. I tried not to have any imaginings about what this might be like because I just.
Well, that worked.
Good for you.
I read it.
We're using the don't know of, the first case.
Right, but were you separated from yourself while you were trying not to imagine, but you were imagining?
Oh, well, that's a good question.
That first response she had. Oh, I've sailed already.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
separation that she made then.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
She had to come back to herself.
yeah,
That's such a good question.
yeah. Oh, deeper. I have to do more climbing down on this. This is
You're being double teamed, 2 teachers.
Yeah. What was that thing we did? Rock and a hard place. It actually feels pretty great to be between 2 teachers. And it's like if you ever had the experience as a kid of being in the middle of your parents' hug.
You got mom and dad here.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, that's a good feeling.
Good.
You said something and I was reflecting, I think something that happened in my inquiry with Flint, but it moved you or something before you said it moved you, I don't know. And it was something about we have to hold our own shape.
Yeah.
Is there anything more you want to say about that?
Oh, I had a moment a long time ago, when we first moved to Iowa and we lived with his sister. It was lovely. And her 2 boys, and I got so wrapped up and swept away down the river. And I forgot. And I was like, oh, I gotta do something. I gotta, it was like, I knew I needed to go home. Oh. And there was this really great, path, and it had a little river through it, and I was just watching these little leaves, like little boats, go down the river, and I remember thinking, well, those leaves can go from one place to another without losing their shape. And then I thought, I gotta figure this shit out. Like, how do I hold my own shape and still go down the river? So,
Cat Koan. Thank you.
yeah. So when you said that, holding your shape, and you said it too, I mean, that's you know,
And how we are shaped and how we
Yeah.
shape each other.
Yeah, I just want to thank you.
Can you hear her online? Make sure.
Yeah, okay, great. I don't, maybe this will feel weird, but I feel like seeing you go through this process, bring on the weird. Seeing you go through this process, like I feel like I like saw you become more of yourself, like to take your full shape. And I don't know if that's what was happening for you, but that's what I was feeling.
It
And
was
so
happening for you.
yeah, yeah. And feeling like that being a teaching of this, and feeling profoundly grateful of your willingness to embody it in relationship, and doing that is very meaningful. So thank you.
so many of you led the way in so many courageous ways throughout the past few days. In really meeting what was present, and you know, again, like if other people can do it, I can do it too. And then I also just felt like something's got to come out and get out of the way. Just let the light out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And hold on just one second. I just wanted to check with June to see how she's doing. Anything you want to say or need or anything? Just
I was really connecting with the girl that was still in bed. Because that's how I felt when Billy died. And I still do in a lot of ways.
yeah.
And I have glimpses of that other part of me that's like with him. Yeah, so I'm just here trying, right? But just, I feel in and out of being with that girl in the bed.
Yeah. Absolutely. Makes sense. And we're with you as you go in and out. Yeah. You're not alone. Even though there may be times that you might want to be.
I came back.
I noticed. I feel kind of like coming up to the bed and saying, is there something I can get you? Something you want? Checking on you.
I'm just trying to take you all in.
Just, you know how when you're trying to care for somebody, you don't know what to do and you feel helpless. It's like, well, just do anything. Yeah, it's fine. You're doing fine. We're happy to be here with you.
Blanket, you know.
Just didn't want to ignore you when so much was moving. That's all. Make sure you got acknowledged.
The barrier's here.
Yeah. And you'll never be separated from him.
Yeah, but a part of me is.
And yet, right. Both are true. Yeah. Just take your time. That's it. What I'm guessing is that this is going to move for a while. What you seeing over there?
People with me.
Let her continue. Just let her continue. It's going around. May seem strange, but this is why we practice sitting. It's just to be with, steady, taking time.
Oh.
I feel me with me.
I have a small impulse, which is that was so clear when you just stopped. It's like, ooh, is it okay if we do it? But you lead us, and I'll just do that very gentle, slow. We'll follow your breath, and we'll do it. Shanav has her hand up.
Hi. Um, I can't see what has been going on, and I'm afraid I don't know the name of who just spoke.
June.
June, thank you. Hi, June. I just wanted to thank you for opening this up, and I wanted to thank you, Flint, for making space and time for this to open up, to meet her where she is right now. And my 11 and 13 years older brother and sister took over a lot of my care because my mother worked full time, and then my sister went to college when I was 5, and my brother went to college when I was 7, and then my mother died when I was 8. And I remember hearing once that if you have an ant farm and you knock it over, they'll get back and build it all up, and then you knock it over and they'll get back and build it up. But if you do it a third time, they'll just lay down and die. And my father says that when he told me my mother was dead, I just fell over. Like my life force just left. And I was,
Seijo in bed.
and my whole life I feel like there's one me that goes out to meet the world, and there's another me that's not willing or able to really agree to fully live. And then in this weird edible way, I kind of created, I knew I got married, he could die. If I had children, I could lose her. So I became life partners with this man who didn't want to get legally married, and we were raising his daughter who wasn't. So I wasn't a real mother, I wasn't a real wife, this capital R real. I thought that meant I couldn't get hurt. And then he went out on a bike ride and I never saw him again, and they took her away from me. And I don't know how to hold my own shape.
This is how you learn. You have a shape. When we meet you, we learn about your shape. We feel your shape. We're shaped by you. And together, something happens. It's not something you do alone, something you were left alone with, but not something you do alone. You keep coming back, don't you? Same thing that June said. Came back.
I do.
Yeah. Good.
There's a part of me that, gosh, I do feel like I've been living two different lives that haven't come together. And, I ran off and lived in other countries by myself and learned other languages and lived other lives. And there's that part, just like the one who got on the boat.
Yeah.
And then there's the part who doesn't fully show up because it's too scary.
Yeah. This is the curriculum you'll be working with probably for the rest of you know? It's not a something wrong. That's what you've been given, and it's tough, and it has all kind of difficulties and pains and heartbreak in it. And when someone else shows you that they have a life that has those things in it too, it calls you forward and you shape each other. Like June did, like the Koan did. And you can be in a place where you can be a you. You can bring your shape to us, and it will hold you. Now people know more about you. Oh, there's Jeanette. A little more. There's June. You see her on the bowing mat?
What is her name? I didn't hear.
Bring her up closer if you can.
June.
June.
Oh, that's June?
There, he moved over, so she just moved over.
Hi.
Oh, sorry. Like I said to June, when I said I wanted to come over to the bed and check and see if there's anything you need, like you might do with someone who's in bed. Anything else you need now, is there?
If I were there,
Yes?
I would want that hug between two parents that I never had.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you were here, we'd give it to you. But you can imagine if you put your arms like this on yourself and look at me and see that I'm doing it, and you can see Liz and you saw June a while ago put her hands up, it's like feel us. Those are your hands that feel us. We're not separated. Just take that in.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's also what we enact every time, and June did it for you too. Whenever we do this, oh, not two. Not two. We're coming close to the end of our time, but I have to get back to she had a question.
No, I don't even remember.
Oh, okay. What's happening now?
I've never had that kind of love. I've never had that kind of love. And I can't look at it too carefully or else I'll completely explode. I'm sorry if I felt cold. Because I didn't react. It's because I'm so afraid that I'll look at it too carefully.
And yet, yesterday, when you felt that kind of fear and anguish for Aaron,
Yeah. It's the other kind of love.
okay,
It's a different kind of love.
so that's what you're struggling with or grieving or moving in you right now.
And I've accepted it. Not gonna happen now. Maybe.
Maybe.
But,
Yeah.
but why? Why? Why?
What?
Why haven't I ever had that kind of love? Why has it always fallen apart?
I'm not convinced of all of that actually, but I understand the feeling you're saying and what you're expressing. You're a marvelous woman who's been a good friend of mine for a long, long time. You don't get there if you haven't had some love.
Oh, I've had a lot of love.
Yeah.
And that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I've had so much love.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a special kind of love like you and Billy. And you, Shanav, I've heard your story before. There's a kind of love that's different.
Maybe. But what I want, I don't know how to do anything about that.
I don't either.
What I do know how to do something about is to say, you are completely lovable. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't have the experience of connecting with the kind of love that you imagine or see, or it might be real, I'm not saying anything about that. You are worthy of and completely lovable. There's nothing missing. You're not broken in the love department.
Some people, a lot of people don't have a lot of things.
A lot of what?
A lot of things. There are people who don't have legs.
Yeah, that's right.
There are people who don't have food.
Yeah.
Who don't have parents. There are people who don't have anything.
Yeah.
And I don't have that experience. And I thought I was at peace with that.
Uh-huh.
And I was afraid, I am afraid to look at it too carefully because there's grief that I can't express. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You're expressing a bit of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry for the people who don't have legs or food.
But that kind of grief that is so totalizing that you're talking about when you see the whole picture, that's the grief of the bodhisattva compassion who hears the cries of the world. You know? And you can only do that in little pieces.
Yeah.
And then you're letting yourself have more of it today. And there more, little bit by little bit.
Yeah, but it's self-pity. And that's
Well, that's the part
detestable.
and that's the part that I'm not buying, even while I connect and care for you. That part, like, yeah, okay.
I think it's detestable to be self-focused like that.
That's another story you have, yes. And I understand why you have it. I get it. Yeah, okay. And if you want to stick to that story, you can, but you're not detestable. There's a part of you that holds something that you don't like.
Self-pity.
Yeah, you don't like that.
Uh-uh.
No, of course not.
No, there's too much suffering. Avalokiteshvara is my team mascot.
Uh-huh.
My head is off.
Right.
I have 1,000 hands with jewels in them. And when I try to do this and look at myself, it's detestable. It's so selfish.
When you stop being Avalokiteshvara and start being an individual person who thinks that individual small person can do all of that, you're going to feel that shit. The individual person, and you can't do all that. Yeah. Neither can I. The archetype of the Bodhisattva, that's in you. Yes. And I'm a poor, pitiful little creature doing the little bit that I can, just like you are. And to think that you personally, small you, could figure out, do all that, that's not possible. So we do what we can. And sometimes I'll get overwhelmed with feeling sorry for myself, or I feel ashamed, or I feel this or that, sure. But if I stay there, I'm not being true to my vow. If I ignore it, I'm not being true to my vow either.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You can't ignore it, cause and effect, but you don't want to get caught in it either. So you're evidencing that really strongly and clearly.
Yeah. And that's a little bit of a practice, Ed.
Hell yeah. And it's very unusual to have a practice community and a situation, later on now, in which this can be met that strongly, because that's not that common in practice settings. And it's not the same as therapy exactly. Of course, it touches those things, but it's different. So this is a rare opportunity in all of these ways that we're talking about. And that's what I'm committed, and these people are committed to providing.
And I'm not sure I want to be seen like that.
I know.
I mean, I don't really, really want to be seen.
Too late. I don't say that trying to be mean. It's like there is another part of you that does, or you wouldn't show up like this. And there's one part that's like, please, I don't want to be seen.
But it's like vomiting that fire.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Nobody left.
Too
Nobody
late.
left.
Nobody left something.
That's not all you are.
I've maybe felt some coldness of not wanting to examine, but I feel really connected to you right now.
Thank you for forgiving me.
Oh, absolutely. Instant. The moment you told me your pain. The moment you told me your pain. That was in me that was gone.
And to be offered forgiveness is part of that special love.
Thank you.
Thank you
for being seen in that place.
I just did what you did.
Good call. They're, Jeanette, you can't see, they're hugging, the hug that.
They're coming together.
Yeah, so have it again.
I'm so sorry for your grief. So much to me. Feels really good. Really good. Yeah. I haven't known what to do with you.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. Yeah. And I love you. I love you. I do. I do too. Thank you for forgiving me. Absolutely. I've never felt forgiveness this strongly.
Yeah, that's the missing medicine, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the missing medicine, forgiveness.
It's easy. Yeah. Because you're easy to love. It's so easy to pretend like things don't exist and like not deal with them. That's like kind of my core competency.
You already practiced that one enough.
That just kind of fell apart. Yep. Basket. Yeah, I'm not walking away.
And you
from
didn't
this
walk
box
away.
basket. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a basket walker.
Yeah, no, you're not, because you're right here. Because you're right here.
Before I was labeled by this very wise young woman, the high priestess of the church of turn and run. And that's the way I've lived my whole life, is thinking that I was. With the exception of a few people, I was the high priestess and I just walked away.
And here you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm being seen and I'm not
Yeah.
Well, actually, there is something to say about that, just as we finish here, is that when each of you, I'm speaking to you now, but both of you, when you've done something really powerful like this, that makes a big difference. It really is a healing thing to do. There can be a backlash later where you go, fuck, what did I do?
it's happening already.
Vulnerability,
So,
hangover.
It's really, really important that you are willing, because that's the time you would turn and go. All you have to do is, I would say, call up June or somebody, because you're connected, and say, did I make a fool of myself? Am I okay? Was I horrible? All the stuff that you actually think. And people will go, no, it was great. It was actually useful. They'll do whatever they do. Don't stay alone with that.
No,
It's a predictable side effect. And you got somebody saying, they can help out.
But all the people in this room who I love, and I love you. I don't want you to feel like about you. I love you guys so much. This is deeper and different and before. This is before.
I know where you live.
What?
I know where you live.
It's a security building.
I know, but I can hang out. You had to come out for food.
Yeah,
I
I
will
don't.
come after you if you try to run, and I will stand there.
I am talking about before you guys, okay?
Yeah, all this happened before, but you don't think people know this stuff?
Yeah.
Not like this.
Yeah.
But if we know you and love you, then we get intimations. Like, it's kind of like we said, I don't know what to do with you, because there's now we know what to do with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
I moved 1,000 miles to be with you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
yeah.
you.
I didn't know it was gonna be like this.
It put us right there.
No, but I know, that's the thing about practice, when you really realize what it's gonna cost you and do, it's like,
And what I was gonna say to you, Liz, who I love so much, is I see you as brave. And what I think it really is it's devotion.
Yeah.
Not that there's one or the other, but I think they go together.
at first it looked like bravery and then it went
Yeah.
deeper.
And then I realize it's so much more than just being brave.
Thanks. I'll take it.
And dedicated and steady in your practice.
But how I feel is what you just said.
Yeah.
So much of the time. Kind of angry about being seen and like, no. Thank you.
Yeah, me too.
Huh?
Not sure if I like being seen either. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, yeah, no, I
I'm
can.
totally devoted now to being seen.
Blame me.
I do.
I know, that's why I said it. Who else? Oh, Chris, yay. You're Chris too.
Hey, Chris.
Okay,
So I just wanted to tell all of you that I have a question that keeps coming up as I'm watching all of you and listening to you. And the question is, why am I not living in Minneapolis? I think my partner and my life would have something to say about that. I just want to tell you, part of me has moved. So thank you, all of you.
and I know you well enough to know that this level of practice is what your heart seeks and expresses, certainly. Love you.
Yeah.
It just so happens that her career also had a lot to do with what. Well, let's stop now instead of sitting zazen and or doing anything else. We normally would have another period of zazen, which we could approach on a bit, right?
Do you want to do Bodhisattva vow?
Yeah, we'll do the end vow. That will conclude, but then we'll have a longer time for lunch. Space, it's a breath. How about that?
Can I ask a question about practice?
Yes?
So this is our Zendo, and like during lunch, it's quiet as well? Like when we
When the
leave?
candle is turned off, when the candle is out, it's not the Zendo anymore.
Okay.
It's what we normally would do. Like if you were in a regular Zendo and you put the candle out and it's like it's closed, kind of. Then you can use the room for some other things. But then when you reopen it, like when the priest or whoever comes in and you offer the incense and the candle's on, like, okay, but now we're back.
Thank you.
And so as our altar caretaker, can she, as we conclude, then she puts out the candle?
Yeah, I know it's not a real candle, right?
Yeah.
Turn it off.
Turn the switch.
Thank goodness, so that's that. Thank you.
Page 5. Yes. May our intention equally permeate every being in place with the true merit of Buddha's way. Bodhisattva vow. Beings of bliss, I vow to freedom. Delusions are inexhaustible, I vow to end them. Dharma gifts are boundless, I vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable, I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless, we vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible, we vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless, we vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable, we vow to embody it. Beings are numberless, this vow frees them all. Delusions are inexhaustible, this vow ends them all. Dharma gates are boundless, this vow enters them all. Buddha's way is unsurpassable, this vow embodies it.
Page 62, short meal verse.
It's, let's do the long ones.